All right, let's go out to Colorado Springs, Colorado, and talk to the great Maddie. Hey, Maddie, what's up?
Hi, Dr. John. I'm a big fan, so this is a huge honor to be talking to you today.
Well, I'm a big fan of yours, so thank you so much for being in the game. What's up?
Well, so I have a weird question, and I don't know if I want to start with it, but maybe I'll go for it, and then you can ask for context as we need it.
That's cannonball. That's the best way into the pool. Just cannonball.
I agree. So my husband is celebrating a year of sobriety this month. This is a big deal in our relationship. I am so proud of him. It's been a long time coming, so I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm proud of him. But I guess our relationship has just kind of paid for it in the meantime. And we've gotten to a point throughout this year where the relationship is still just missing a lot. There's still a lot to be desired. For lack of better terms, it's boring. And I know that sounds horrible.
Hey, it does. It absolutely does not. Listen, the only way this conversation works is if you are completely honest with what you feel and let the internet people judge how they're going to judge.
Okay, deal.
But saying your relationship is boring is the honest truth. And so it's not, you're not a terrible person. You're not the worst. Like, no, man, that's helpful information.
Yeah. And it just feels like we don't have much connection, much friendship, and definitely not a lot of romance in it right now. And that's something I really crave. And I've been waiting for this for 7 years. We've been married for 10 years, know each other for 10 years, married for 5. And I'm excited to be here. But about 3 months ago, I took your advice and I wrote out a list of what I need from my partner, how I feel loved, and it just didn't go very well.
Tell me about that.
I was excited to present it, and I did it over a meal. I love to cook, so I cooked the dinner, and I said, "Hey, here's a list of things I really want from a partner, and I would love to receive a list from you as well." And my husband was offended. He felt like he's already done a lot in the last year, and he's done a lot of self-work and made good progress, but he made it seem like he just doesn't feel good enough ever, even despite all the changes he made. So
he doesn't feel good enough. He doesn't feel good enough emotionally. He doesn't feel good enough physically.
I think maybe just as a whole, he just said he doesn't feel good enough for me. Like it's almost like I'm always asking something of him.
Did you ask him to go to rehab?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Hey, whoa. Maddie, you just said that apologetically. Don't apologize for that. Apologize for that. Say, yeah, I did. If he's going to stay married to me, he's going to go to rehab. Is that what happened?
That was exactly it.
Don't apologize for that. Good for you.
Thank you. For years, he struggled with seeing the problem.
Okay.
It got to the point where he was like gaslighting me, like I'm making it up, until friends and family started pointing it out, until he couldn't hold it together in public anymore, and strangers started coming at him about it, or coming to him about it. And eventually I kind of drew the line. I was like, hey, I know you've tried to tell me you don't have a problem. He'd take like a month off, 3 months off, 6 months off, but I need you to start being a therapist. I need you to start going to AA continuously. And he wouldn't do it. So I left. I said, if this is the life you choose, that's not the life for us. And I left. And that's when he decided.
Good for you, Maddie.
It was hard, but that's when he decided to finally take it seriously. And, we separated for 6 months. He worked on himself. I felt great. I worked on myself. I saw a therapist. I stopped feeling crazy. And I just thought we were in a good place to connect again. And he just didn't take it like I thought.
Wow. And so let's just call out. That was really vulnerable of you.
Thank you.
To put that on a piece of paper and hand that over, or to read it to him. And to create what I would call to to create an air like eros, right? To create an environment of eroticism. You made dinner, right? You created a plan. You sat down and said, I want to connect with you, and here's a roadmap to my heart and to some other things. And he looked at you and got offended. How dare you? That hurts. Does that fit? Right? I mean, that like there's the sex part and there's the intimacy part and the I don't like being, but that hurts.
Yeah, it definitely did. I wasn't expecting it, to say the least.
I'm not either, because most of the men I know, if they can put their ego aside, like there is like, oh, I don't need it. Yeah, you do. You're an idiot. If you can put your ego aside, getting a roadmap to their wife, like to like her soul, that's gold, man. It's gold.
Yeah.
And he figured out a way to yet again make this whole thing about him, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And he just, what's crazy to me is he's so proud of what he accomplished, and he should be. And he has a whole group of friends now that's pursuing the sober lifestyle, and they do activities through a sober community, and it's all great. And he can connect with people, but I just feel like he doesn't want to connect with me. And that's what's hard is he's not the guy I knew, it feels like. I mean, his personality is just different, and I feel like with me, he doesn't have the enthusiasm that he has in a different community of people.
Do y'all have kids?
No, not yet.
All right. So let's back out. And you've heard me, if you listen to the show for more than 2 minutes, you've heard me say this 1,000 times. Let's pretend y'all aren't married and y'all are just dating. And if behavior is a language, what's he telling you?
Like he doesn't care to connect with me?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with this in the addiction community, because most of the time this type of, like, it's celebrating a year. It often brings people back together. But I know in significant weight loss, in instances when somebody really sits down and says, hey, I'm worried about you, you're going to die, and somebody goes on a really restrictive lifestyle for a year, they lose a whole bunch of weight, they find themselves, they start being active again, there's often a reckoning relationally. Like, I now feel free and I want to move on from you.
Mm-hmm.
Or now you've created this whole other life. I didn't want to go hiking with you, and I didn't want to go to CrossFit with you, and I didn't want to like eat healthy with you. I just wanted you to not die. So I want my old life back, but I want you a part of my old life. And that person's saying, yeah, I'm not that person anymore. That's the only instance I know of that. So it may happen in the addiction community. I don't have a personal experience with that. I just want to be honest. But it sounds as though he took his glasses off. He is no longer living a life of where he's struggling with addiction. And he's created a new life that involves these other people, these friends, these meetings, these activities. And so far it's not including you.
Well, and it's hurtful because
it is.
I want the best for him, and in a way, it feels like he's almost mad at me.
Why is he mad at you?
I did want him to be sober, and I fought for a very long time to encourage it, and I myself even stopped drinking for a period of time to help him out. And then it wasn't until I left where I was like, if this is the life you want, then okay, but I'm not a part of that. And he cleaned right up and started pursuing me. I mean, he really pursued me, but it's almost like as if every single time he has me again, it's just the effort goes away. And he doesn't want to hear how he could be better. He doesn't want that input. He just wants it to be good enough. And I feel like my standards aren't ridiculous. I just want to feel seen. I want to feel heard. I want to feel alive together. And I even have gone to his sober activity groups and tried to partake in that community, but it's almost like he won't do things for me.
Yeah. Are you hearing the words that you're saying?
Yeah.
I hate that for you.
They're hard to say out loud.
I know, but you're saying them, but I want you to internalize them. Now, I want to ask you one question. I just want to make sure we're like keeping everything honest. Has he ever been good enough for you?
You know, when we first met, I was like, this is my perfect guy. Like, he's funny and he's exciting, and I liked doing life. I mean, I love going to concerts. I love being out, and I really enjoyed that. You know, we were fresh out of college, and I loved that, and I think that's why it was so easy for him to hide behind his issue. But as we've grown up, as we've matured, I'm okay sacrificing those things, but I still want to go to dinner with my husband. I still want to be able to go to a concert. I still want to do things I enjoy. And I feel like maybe he can't. I mean, maybe it's too tempting for him to do something like that.
No, it sounds like something bigger than that. Like the language he's using with you is he's tired of chasing a moving target.
Okay.
And there may be some truth to that. And by the way, just because he's sober doesn't mean the gaslighting stops automatically.
Mm-hmm.
If he's a person who has twisted things around for your whole decade y'all have been together and made every issue your fault, just because he's clean doesn't mean that behavior stops.
Yeah.
Sobriety doesn't solve everything. It actually levels the field so that you can begin to work on things.
I feel like what I ask isn't asking too much.
I know, but you're not hearing the other side of it. He's telling you, I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. And you keep trying to figure out the language that he can hear you, and he's trying to say no in every language you throw at him.
Well, and it confuses me, like, when we separated, why did he want me back so badly?
Maybe you were the rabbit. You were the rabbit in the race. You gave him something to chase.
Yeah.
And maybe he's trying to figure out how to do life with completely dead to his old life, instead of integrating you into this new world that he's experiencing, where he's clean and he's sober and he's got friends and he's laughing and he's becoming himself again. It may be that he's just trying to end his whole old life. But you're trying to get answers to questions that he's not interested in answering. The real question is, do you want to be married to me?
Yeah, and maybe that's something I just need to ask flat out, I guess.
Yeah. And listen, listen to him. Are you done with me? Now that you're clean, now that you're sober, now that you're back on 2 feet, have you looked around and said, I want to do life without her?
Yeah.
And if he says, yeah, of course, but I'm not doing all this sex and intimacy stuff, well, then we're right back to where we started before he got clean, which is Maddie looking in the mirror and saying, what kind of life do I want to live?
Yeah.
And there's also instance after instance after instance, I've seen this countless times, where somebody heads into rehab for the first time and they just trade one addiction for the other. So they go from alcohol to, they quit drinking, but they go into sober living bros, and that becomes their whole life.
And that's what it feels like.
It becomes another numbing agent so that they don't have to deal with the life at home. Or they get into working 140 hours a week, or they get into any number of gambling, like whatever. It just moves because the core behavior, which is, I'm sitting across from a woman that I love and she loves me, and I'm willing to let her see all of me. I don't mean that sexually. I mean, I'm willing to let her see all of me. The good stuff, the scary stuff. And it sounds like he doesn't want to do that. And that's why I asked you, has he ever been able to do that? And you're saying, yes, absolutely. That's all you want.
Yeah.
But all of this is you and me trying to get inside his head. And that's a fool's errand, to get in somebody else's head and try to figure out why they said this and what decision they're doing. That's a waste of our time because we'll never know. Mm-hmm. The real question is you sitting back at the table and saying, do you want to be married to me? Because if behavior is a language, you're telling me you've
hard question.
We're done. Yeah, you ask that question, be prepared for the answer, right?
It just sucks when you're someone's cheerleader.
I know.
And they really put you through it. And then if the answer is no, I mean, that's really hard because
it is.
Spent a lot of time wanting what's best for him. And and that's the thing, too. I want a family, and my biological clock is ticking, and I don't want to scientifically create a family. I want that family to come from deep love and intimacy, and the love is there. I mean, he's told me, he's like, you're someone very special to me. You know, you helped me get here. But at the same time, it's crazy how he could say that and then just turn around and make me feel like I'm demanding so much when I just want a good life for us.
I've told my close friend, Jean-Noel, that I love him and that I'm grateful that he helped me get to where I am. I've told my good friend, Randall, that I love him and I'm glad he helped me get to where I am. And I've told my good friend, Kevin, my good friend, Michael, my good friend, Todd, my good friend, John, Craig. I've told those men, I love you and thank you for helping me get to where I am. But none of those guys were my romantic interests. Do you see what I'm saying? I can very much see a world where he says that to you. I love you and I always will. And I'm so grateful that you helped me get to this place.
Yeah.
But let me just reiterate, anytime you spend trying to figure out why he's saying what he's saying and what he's saying is a complete waste of your time. Just go ask him. And I'd probably start out like you did with me. Hey, I put this thing out here. I expected it to go one way. It didn't. And clearly I hurt you. And you said some things like, I can never be enough for you. And I don't want to do any of this stuff. I'm not interested with being with you sexually anymore. Like, you said a bunch of things. Like, here we are a month later. I just need to put this on the table. Is our marriage over? Are we done? And I think you just come with that open hand and that spirit. By the way, you don't want to have kids with somebody who doesn't want to build a life with you.
Right. And what if he says, like, no, you know, I want to be here. I want this marriage, but he just...
Then you have a choice to make.
I don't know. Yeah.
I wish that wasn't the case, but that's what's before you right now. Then you've got a choice. He's like, no, I want to be married to you, but I'm not doing any of that stupid stuff on your paper. Which, by the way, he's telling you, I don't want to be married to you.
Yeah.
Right?
He's just so good at he's so good at chasing, and then it's like when he has something, it's I don't know. That's where he like gives up. I feel like, unfortunately.
I don't know that he gives up. I think you also like being pursued. But maybe that's what he is. He's a pursuer. But he's not got the interest in doing the hard work of what to do after he catches something. There's an old saying in the elk hunting community, in the deer hunting community, that after you actually take an animal's life, that's when the work begins. And so if you don't want to do the work, the pack out, the processing, all that is hours and hours of work. You don't do that, don't go hunting. He may just like the hunt, and he doesn't like the work part that makes the whole thing holy, whole thing right. And it breaks my heart for you because I can tell that you love him, and I can tell you have a picture of him in your head that everything works out. And I think that's clouding the reality, which is he's looking at you going, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. So this is a turn off the music and turn on the lights moment. Let's sit down and have a conversation. We're going to be two adults. Are we done? Because my clock is ticking. I don't want to spend another minute. If we're done, we're done. Let's be done. or if you want to fight and build something new with me, I'm all in. But the speculation and the why, and I can't believe, and why would he say that? It's just killing you. It's drowning you. Whew, I'm sorry, Maddie. Let me know how this conversation goes. Reach out, have that conversation with him, and then reach back out to us. I'd love to see how it ends up, and I'm happy to talk to him anytime he wants to call in as well. Proud of you.